welcome back to SnowRunner with me, Mark from DadX, and we're just going to take the GMC from where we left it just a little bit further north on the map to check the route up to the tunnel to the other map. Can't remember which map it is from here now, but let's go and have a little look. There is an obstruction up here. I just want to see what we need to clear it, because obviously if we can double up loads and do 2 jobs at once, that saves us so much time. Well, I hope you've all had a good Christmas break. I don't know how restricted you are where you are, but it's all gone okay, I guess. And it's nearly New Year, so what wonders can 2021 hold for us? We shall see, eh? So we've done that little bit of intel gathering. I think we'll leave the GMC here. We've got to get metal beams for that other mission that the Humvee unlocked, so we could probably do both at once in some way. So back in the garage we have the Royal BM17, and it has been recommended that we give this truck a try, even if it hasn't got lockable differentials. So thank you, Pater, for that suggestion. So let's have a little look. We haven't got many specific upgrades unlocked for him, but we've got the main ones, which are going to be the gearbox and the tyres. And because we found the gearbox, that applies to all trucks, and the tyres are level unlocked, so we're all good. It's already got all-wheel drive, so let's give this guy a go. Hopefully not having diff locks won't be too much of a problem. I've heard he's got so much grunt and so much power, he kind of just deals with it. And hopefully, I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to assume, since he's one of the American trucks, that we can have a flatbed on there and tow a trailer. Unlike the Russian trucks, which bizarrely, I haven't had one that can yet, have I? Anyway, let's get out there. Is there any natty paint jobs? We'll have a little look. We'll at least get him and keep him with the fleet. There you go, that'll do. Beautiful, off we go. Right, we're just going to grab this trailer that's out in the yard, just outside the garage, right by the trailer store, but there's one sat right here, so we'll grab that. We are going to head up around to pick up 2 loads of metal beams, and then we are going to take them to clear the 2 blockages we have discovered. So I'm going to skip ahead slightly because you've seen most of this journey so far. Once we get into the mucky stuff, we shall see how this truck is performing, but for now... Oh, thank you, Farmer Klein, again for your input that the chain tyres make the biggest difference on the roads, and the mud tyres are actually quite good on the snow. So yeah, you could get away on this map a bit earlier on. You just need to be a lot more careful on the roads by the sound of it, and maybe on some of the bits of really long icy road up a hill you may have a little bit of traction issue, but who knows. We'll try it. We'll stick some mud tyres on a truck, take it out for a spin. The Chevy will be a laugh, that's for sure. Anyway, let's see if we start having some problems. We're starting to get into the mucky stuff here, but we seem to be dragging our way through it quite nicely. Now, one of the things I've noticed on this map is the lack of trees. Look at that, there's nothing too much around. I didn't fit an extended winch, which maybe might have been a good precaution, but we'll see. We'll take it easy. It is getting a little bit bogged down. There seem to be some roots and bits and pieces down in the mud. Sometimes are visible and some aren't. I actually think the truck's probably going to go a little bit better with a bit of weight on it, as they usually do. But there you go. We're just in the standard gear ratios as well at the moment. Although gear ratios, I don't know if they make a huge difference if you haven't got diff locks, to be honest. But we seem to be making it okay. Let's see, once we get up into this more hilly section. It definitely seems to be a wise precaution here to keep looking ahead and just, well, as you can see, there's no tow points down here at all, so they wouldn't be coming back up this hill. So this might be quite a tricky route depending on what you're pulling. But what I was going to say was, yeah, just keep an eye out if there's one side of the track you need to keep to, because that's where the trees are. Do bear that in mind. I'm just experimenting really to see if getting up off the side of the road is better ground or worse ground. It didn't seem to make a huge difference there, but we're moving, and that's always a good sign. We're nearly up over this crest, so that should make things a little bit easier for us. This is actually reminding me of one of the World of Tanks maps. Arctic region, there you go. Quite appropriate. Very similar kind of look and feel about it. Right, it's getting it's just the snow down here, and again look at the lack of big trees both sides of the road, so we need to get through here. So go, go, go. I'm actually a little bit, I don't know, I don't like the look of this in terms of getting loads back and forth through it. We'll see. It looks like with the complete lack of winch points, you could easily get bogged down in here. And we are going to be bringing back 2 loads of metal beams. And look, once we get down to the bottom, we've got to get out. Now, we are staying mobile, which obviously is excellent. I'm just not sure if we should take this as a little bit of a barely made it. But it's really hard to tell. I wish I'd had sort of a bit of a load on the truck. That can make such a difference. Talking of World of Tanks, while I grind my way up this slope, the game's had a huge update. I played it since it was beta on console. I don't play it lots in terms of, well, I don't play it lots in that I have long breaks from it and then I'll pick it up and play it. It's one of those games for me. But they've just done such a huge update to the game, which I don't mind. I'm finding my way around it. Some of it makes some sense to me. But what has really stood out is the reaction of like the YouTubers and the community of, oh my god, this has changed, it's broken, demanding that they roll back the game. Which obviously a developer's never going to do when they put that much time and investment. I can see what they're doing, and I can see why some people are like, oh my god, this is so different. But and also World of Tanks is one of those, especially on the forums, one of those communities where it's only those players that take their stats really seriously that are kind of really vocal and expect the game to be built in the way that is always going to be best for them and to hell with everybody else. It's quite a funny, that was my first experience of online kind of game forums, and it turned out to be quite a horrible little place. It was nice when it started. Let me just focus as we get down to here, because what we've got a heap of snow. We've not had this before, where the snow is actually quite a pile. Are we going to be alright through here? Again, there's nothing to winch to. But it's a game I still enjoy, as I say. It's a very pick up and play now and again game for me. I do get caught out. I'll play it every now and again and then spend 2 hours and I don't even know any of the maps that I'm playing on. With hilarious results. Oh look, I can see civilization. We've made it through here. I am thinking this is going to be quite a nasty route. Maybe to get stuff back up through that area. We haven't got any support vehicles stashed around this map yet, so maybe that's something we need to think about. Because obviously your buddy could be the winch point if the map refuses to provide us with any. So we're up here back onto that road. And what have we got to do? We've got to get 1 load of metal beams down to where the Hummer is. And we've got to get 1 load of metal beams back to where the GMC was. And we've got to get them from there. So there probably is a smoother route to where we've just gone. But that shortcut is quite a nice big shortcut. We could go further around that kind of outside road there. So the Hummer is over here. We need to get 1 metal beams over that way. So are we going to bring it all the way back around the map? I'm toying with the idea of cutting back around that kind of west side of the map here. And exposing. We've still got a tower to get to in there somewhere as well. We've got a few upgrades and bits and pieces we will whiz around and collect. But I want to get on with this. We've got 2 routes to open up. So that's the shortcut we've taken. I'm just not too confident about this truck, or maybe any of our trucks' ability to drag this load back through there. So we are going to turn left here, and we are going to scout with our load down this western side of the map and try to get to the Humvee this way. So yeah, fingers crossed, adventuring hat on, and what's the worst that can happen? As long as we can keep up our momentum, I think we'll be okay. And I think I can see there's telegraph poles along this road, which is always a good sign. Especially as up ahead it looks like they're lining the road a little bit more closely. So we've also got the option, of course, if we get a little bit bogged down, of unhitching the trailer and pulling the truck up and then winching it up rather than having it attached. That can help, and you can kind of leapfrog your way around. It seems to have become my basic technique for the tricky places, is that kind of leapfrog, winch point to winch point, and then back for the trailer. Oh, I usually get to a point where I've left the trailer too far behind, and I either have to make the decision to go back and get it, risking getting the truck stuck, or just going back and getting it later. But you know, but we've got up that little rise. We're making progress. I'm not sure what this is up ahead of us. Is that one of the things we've seen on the map? You do get some scenic features on these maps that don't really have any role whatsoever. So let's see. But we're getting there. We're moving. What can I say? And you wouldn't be going much faster than this real life, would you? You wouldn't want to be. So there is that to consider. Imagine whizzing down here at like 45 miles an hour with this load on this icy road. If there was a truck in the game that could do it, maybe there is. It would also be kind of unrealistic, to the point of just not being this game. As I've said before, there's no point in playing a game like this for me. Oh, we have got something over here. Oh, so this is where we're getting... What are we getting there? That's the sawmill, so that'll be the friendly neighbourhood timber yard. What we're going to need wood for? The bridges and the obstructions have so far just needed metal beams. I'm sure we'll need some wood one day. Onwards into the unknown. We're kind of downhill down here, which is nice. Can't do us any harm as long as we keep control of the truck, of course. Yeah, this seems like a nice gentle gradient down, which usually translates into the actually kind of killer gradient back up, because it just goes on and on and on. I remember going through we went to pick up a car once, and a mate of mine we took a trailer in his Land Rover, and a proper old like 1980s Land Rover, so not a really old one, but not the most powerful machine, no matter how brilliant it may be off-road. And there was one stretch of this road we were coming back, and it was just uphill and uphill, and we were getting slower and slower and slower. This poor Land Rover was just getting completely beaten by gravity. And it was quite far. I think we ended up down to about 24 miles an hour or something ridiculous. It was like a 50 mile an hour road, a dual carriageway, so we weren't actually causing a full obstruction like farmer style, but yeah, hills can be killers, and it's the gradual ones that go on and on that seem to do the most harm when you're underpowered. I thought we might have a little bit of trouble through the water feature, but no, it seems to have a nice solid rocky bed. So that's good to know. And there's a handy telegraph pole right there if we had needed it, but no, we're up. Let's just get out of the water. The wheels are spinning a lot without the diff locks, but it doesn't seem to matter. What can we say? No other way to put it. The interior, very utilitarian. I do like it. Strangely plush looking seats for such a utilitarian vehicle. Right, we've got a warehouse, I think it is over here, I remember from looking on the missions. So we will need to be coming back here. As it says on the signs, we've got factory this way, warehouse that way. There you go, just to confirm that you can believe the signs. I think one of the missions we've got to get into that warehouse and get 4 loads of bricks. So that's going to be a truck and a trailer. So that's something, oh my word, look at that. That's just snow all the way up ahead of us to that, well, across there to that hill. Go, go, go. Right, again. There's no sturdy winch points to be had There are some along the way, but look, we'd have to be yanking ourselves right over there. It's a very narrow route too, as are some of the others, or they're bordered by very deep snow. So you've also got to bear in mind, how would we, if we got bogged down right here, how would we get vehicles in here to assist? So as we did on Drummond Island, making sure potentially that you've got a vehicle ahead of the one that you've got to tow a heavy load through or may get stuck with, is something we're going to have to bear in mind. And obviously we're still dealing with very basic loads here. I've no doubt there's going to be some much bigger stuff to come in the, the drilling equipment and the oil rig and the is there going to be another one of those construction trailers? I think that's probably the worst thing, actually, that construction trailer, because it is what it is. I found using that trailer rather than a low loader trailer to take the that big container, the oversized load through, worked really well. But you obviously don't have that option with that construction trailer. It is on its own, well, it is a trailer, there you go. And it does get stuck. It's got very low ground clearance, so we'll see. Anyway, we haven't got much further to go. There's the Hummer. I keep trying to call it a Humvee, so I hope you don't mind if I do. The Hummer H2 is down here. I think we're going to be fine. It's getting dark, but I'm not sure that really matters, but it's just snow. Look. Again, grinding up this hill might be a bit of a nightmare. At least we're coming down it. It's quite a hill as well, look. Yeah. So this seems to be working. We seem to have been a little bit lucky. The most, going back round this lap the other way is going to probably be a little bit harder than the way that we've come, because we've gone down the nasty slopes rather than up them. What we got here, right, we just got to cut just around the corner of this lake. I nearly just drove off into the middle. Right, so just stick to the edge. Hopefully there's not going to be too much of a nastiness on the way through here. Wonder how deep the lake gets. Surprised there's not something stuck in the middle of it we need to drag out, actually. It seemed like an ideal spot. But no, we're around that little corner. So the watery parts of this map seem to have very rocky bottoms, which is good. You're not going to sink into them. And the Royal is pulling us along. I'm going into the high gear ratios. It does make a little bit of a difference, but not as much as it does with the diff locks. And absolutely 100%, if the vehicle's got permanent diff locks on it, then it really wants the low ratio gearbox. It will perform a lot better in the really soft stuff with that than without it. But again, look, no trees and all snow. There's some little baby Christmas trees, but they're not going to do much good if we do get bogged down in here. Let's just go for it. But so far, this lovely free truck that we found, honest governor, we've not even needed to mess about with the trailer or anything yet, have we? So it's just dragging us through. So yeah, again, I love the fact that the interactive nature of these videos, that you guys say, oh no, give it a go, because I probably might have just thought, oh no, I won't bother with this one, but we're getting there. I wonder how much quicker or not the Taiga might have been. It's quite a bouncy truck, that one. This is quite a nice, solid, dependable truck. And you've seen what happens when I get too comfortable in a bouncy truck. It invariably ends up bouncing straight over. Right, we seem to have a nice long stretch of... I can't tell how much of it is mud or how much of it might be some kind of road, but let's go for it. That looks like tarmac just ahead of us. So, is this another pickup place up here? What else was over this way? The factory? Trying to remember. Or is this one of those pieces of scenery that doesn't have much of a function? I can't see a yellow square in there. Doesn't really matter. I'm not going to go in there and have a look if it's not showing up on the map. No, it's not. Well, mate, does that count as not quite exposed? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's the factory. It is the factory. Got the trailer park over here. We just got to get straight down here. We are on the right side of the obstruction. I assume that you can probably clear it from the other side if you brought the metal beams up this route, but that looks like quite a tricky route to me. But who knows? The map isn't 100% reliable. Well, it is actually. It's a very good map, but it's hard to tell what the quality of a road just by looking at the map. It can look really horrible and twisty, but it can actually be a much better surface than the one that looks like the fast route. And only sending a truck with a double load blind into those areas will reveal what is that case. So our scouting truck policy seems to be paying off again. I guess we could have got halfway around here and found another obstruction we couldn't get past and then find that that was a complete pain. But no, in fact, the next waypoint is the bottom of the track, where the Hummer is. Probably in the way, but we'll check before I commit to getting this truck up there. Again, this is a very narrow little path up here. No two-way traffic once we're in these woods. So, we are here. I'm wondering now, ideally I'd like to get the load, I haven't got a crane, I'd like to get the load off of the trailer handed in for this one rather than the one on the truck, but I don't know if it's going to let me try to do that. Right, the Hummer's up here, is absolutely in the way, so we've shoved the Hummer around the corner out the way and we are just bringing the load up. It's okay, I stopped. I did bring the Hummer down and try to tow the truck up with it, but that didn't work. Not too well. It would have worked, but it would have taken ages, so I've just stuck the Hummer up ahead of us around that corner. Luckily there was space. And let's see. Yeah, I wish I could just drop in the load from the trailer, but I really don't think it's going to let me. So do we need to accept the task? Oh, of course, it won't let us hand stuff in unless we're tracking it anyway, will it? So, let me have a little think. Need to be tracking the task, of course, so we can hand in the cargo. And will it let us hand it in the way we want to? No, there's no selection there, is there, between truck and trailer? That's a little bit unfortunate. How about if we... I know we need to have the truck in there to trigger the unloading, but if we get the trailer in too, no. Doesn't look like it, so it's going to have to be that one. Now we just got to get the truck and the trailer back out of here. Let's see. Actually, with the weight of the load on the back, that is basically pulling the truck back, which is therefore pulling the dolly straight. So this is working really easily. On the flat, this could be a lot more problematic unless you kept everything really beautifully lined up. But in this case, no. There you go, that worked beautifully. Yeah, the trailer basically just dragged us back down the hill, solving the trouble of steering the trailer. All we had to do was steer the truck. Fantastic. So we've cleared that obstruction, but we're getting rather low on fuel, aren't we? So I think we're going to have to address that issue. The Hummer's got a little bit in it. In fact, it did cross my mind I might have to send the Hummer back to give this a little top up so he could get here, but no. So logistics is what we need to think about now, I should think. Right, we're back in our old friend the Fleet Star. We're heading down to the port, which is right down on the southern edge of the map. I've come down here to grab a trailer and to grab a fuel trailer. What we're going to do, we'll just have a little look in here. What do we pick up from here? There's a long road, icy road down here, but it's quite a hill up, and we've got to pick up long pipes, which is 4 slots. What else have we got to pick up? They're available. We've got the oversized cargoes, we've got the drilling equipment. I haven't seen, although I haven't had a completely good look around, the container trailer on this map yet. I'm sure there may be one stashed somewhere. But anyway, yeah, that's the plan, is to grab a couple of trailers here. One of fuel, which we shall obviously take over to the Hummer and the Royal, which is running on fumes. Now, I've had a little look through the missions, and I'm kind of trying to plan ahead a little bit. So that's the bridge we constructed, which opened up down here. We've come down to the port. The Hummer obviously carried on over to the west. We've got another fuel station up here, and we can pick up loads of fuel from there. So we've got 2 places to pick up fuel. I do know we need to pick up bricks from up at that warehouse that we passed. That's why I'm winching an empty trailer behind the Fleet Star and the fuel trailer. So we're going to head off around in this direction. Now, as I mentioned, on the way down here, there's this road from the bridge down to the port, which is a very icy road. There's nothing close to it in terms of trees and too many winch points, and it's a long, long hill up from the port. So we'll see how we get on later. Anyway, we need to get this guy sorted out over here. I don't want to take that route over the mountain. We're going to go round and just meet up with the team right up there. So off we go. So we're just getting our little road train formed up here. We've refueled ourselves with a fuel trailer, then sold the fuel trailer back and then bought a new one. The old free fuel trick. So off we go. A lot of this journey we've done with the Hummer, I'm not expecting it to be too problematic. For the sake of brevity, I'll skip out maybe the first bit of the journey. So here we are, reaching our first dilemma, which is to get around this bend without too much faffing. Yeah, honk the horn, it always helps. So I'm trying to obviously get the trailer winched around this last tree. I don't want to end up in a tangled mess. So I've reconnected it. There's no rear attachment point on the fuel trailer, so I have to winch onto the side. And I'm a little bit wary of running, but we pull it through the trees. I thought I was going to get really tangled up, and that was complete luck, but we've managed to pull it round in between those trees. And the Fleet Star is doing well. It's keeping going, it's keeping mobile. I haven't really had to use the diff locks yet, because I like to see how far I can go before I do, but there we go. We're into the softer bit and slower around this uphill corner area. I'm still exploring. You can also see he needs a lump of concrete on the front for events like this. He's not pulling the wheelies that we got out of him before, but he's having a little go. It's not as bad. I can certainly control the steering much better than I could back on Drummond Island when we were pulling the really heavy loads with him. I'm still exploring whether to dip wheels off the side of the track into the snow, and it does seem to vary, so it's something to learn, I think, on each route. Sometimes there's suddenly it's worse, sometimes it's better. It's not like the swamps on Island Lake where you get 2 foot off the road and the truck tries to tip into the swamp. But it is worth being a little bit cautious, and don't assume that because on one stretch of road it was all nice and solid on the left that it will be on the next, because this map doesn't seem to like to play like that. Right, we're down to the big kind of watery area. So this is probably going to be the first challenge, and I think I'm going to leave the trailer back here. We're not too far from the rest of the team, and it's just going to be a lot less hassly just to get this fuel trailer off, because I think there's going to be probably going to have to detach it and winch it and play a little bit of leapfrogging. So I'm going to speed up the footage a little bit for this section. So I've gone up to 1.5 times speed. So yeah, this was quite, it's just stepping stones really. We've seen it all before. The towing points are a bit Spartan. If you remember before, we looped around to the right in the Humvee, the Hummer, to pick up the upgrade and then came back onto this track. So we've not actually gone straight across this section yet. So this is a little bit of a new journey. We've got the tree. This is what I mean about leaving the trailer behind. We're definitely going to need some winchy assistance here. It's just a question of finding the best way of doing it. I'm not sure 45 degrees is best. So let's get back down in here. We're moving. We might bring the Humvee back to get that trailer. It depends. Or the Fleet Star and the Hummer. I'm going to try and stop calling it a Humvee. Can come back this way. We'll get that trailer back to the Royal one way or the other. But once we've got this fuel up there to the team, we've got a lot of leeway then for backing and forthing. For now, we just need to get the fuel up there. Minimise my opportunities for disaster. So we're still at 1.5 times speed on the footage as I'm just going tree to tree through here, really, quite honestly. We have got the extended winch on the Fleet Star. It is quite handy, for sure, if you can afford it. I think there's the advanced winch, isn't there, which is there the advanced winch which is both heavy duty and extended? So that might even be a better bet. Especially if you know you are going to be getting a particularly heavy load on. It just depends on how much money you've got and how much you want to kind of sink onto trucks. But of course, if you want to micromanage, you can just switch stuff on and off trucks at will. You never lose any money. I do find that a little bit odd. What do you guys think of that and the whole game economy, that nothing really costs anything at all? It has a value, but since it always holds that value, you can just buy and sell stuff willy-nilly, so to speak. It's a nice way of trying everything out, but a little bit of depreciation would at least make you put a little bit of thought into it, or maybe just a different game mode. Maybe that's on the way. To be honest, because I haven't got the season pass, I haven't looked too deeply into what is in it and what is coming, but yeah, I mean, could there not be another game mode where the fuel costs money, everything costs money? You have to run it a bit more like a business. If you see what I mean. And this is great at what it is, don't get me wrong. I just think it could be a little bit more and a little bit more interesting without too much, certainly without too much additional, I don't know, what am I trying to say, demand graphically or in that on the engine. It's just kind of spreadsheets in the background is all we're looking for, isn't it? If you see what I mean. I don't know. Somewhere along the lines of Farm Simulator, where it's certainly not a full-on kind of financial thing because it's all a bit weird, but there's a little bit more thought required. If you see here, from this camera angle, you can see like that wood in the track. From this camera angle, it's disappeared. It's there, see? It keeps flicking on and off. And I'm trying to deliberately catch one, and I do there, and it has got physics, but from this angle, they're invisible, and from over here, you can see them. So, I hope that doesn't ever catch me out. Do you see what I mean? Just look through that little section again if you didn't catch it. From this camera angle, you can see bits of wood in the mud. When I swing to the other side of the track, you can't see them. There's the same bits that are in there now. Right, I've gone back to normal speed now, just in case you really noticed the difference, just for the end. As you can see, I've resorted to winching the trailer up behind me here. It just makes it a little bit easier to get up this hill, but I've had to back up because I've left so much slack. I'm probably going to tip it over down that bank, so we just back up, take up all the slack that we can in the cable, and just swing it around at a slightly better angle. And we've got quite a lot of practice at swinging these kind of trains around over the course of the game so far. So, all good so far. It's all going to plan. I am quite wary of if I do have a disaster on some parts of this map, they are going to be just, maybe just necessitate a reset because of access if I haven't got anything in hand. I think before the next episode, I shall have a good little think about the missions ahead and kind of the best way of doing that. And you know, you can save so much time, as we've learnt, by just remembering you're gonna need a load of that over there for another mission and taking it at the same time, etc, etc. A bit like now grabbing the 2 loads of metal beams. Now it has dawned on me that if this plan is what we go with, i.e. the Fleet Star is now going to take that trailer of metal beams back around the south side of the map, which is a pretty easy run compared to the north way round, I think. That load of metal beams will have done almost the whole lap of the map. But maybe that's a good thing. I mean, we just scouted out a good quarter of the map or more around the outside of it with a truck fully laden. But I think this more than counts as an episode right here. I think we've done some good work. We've still got a watchtower to unlock technically, and we have got a couple of upgrades I think to go and pick out on the map. So we'll maybe go and grab those on the next episode in the hope that they're relevant to our fleet. We shall have a good look at the missions and try to make that plan and make sure we're, you know, taking stuff where it needs to go rather than having to go back and get it straight after we've completed one mission to do another mission, etc, etc. But for now guys, any comments, feedback, suggestions, advice is very welcome. Please leave it a like if you've liked it. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. We'll be back soon, but for now take care of yourselves and goodbye.